Oh my goodness, Bub Terrell walks it off.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Lindsay Crosby, baseball's Lindsay Crosby of the Barn, Auburn, with us. Auburn walks it off in dramatic fashion. What was going to be such a disappointing discussion was totally changed by Auburn's approach in the bottom of the ninth. We'll talk about everything that led up to it, but Bub Terrell is the guy who walks it off. He scores Bingaman from second, and that's all she wrote, Lindsay Crosby. What a way to finish this one.
Auburn has never played a normal game in any sport and never will. You mentioned the approach, and I'm so proud of you for noticing this. In the ninth inning, Auburn's just kind of like, hey, we just got to get balls in play. We got to put balls in play. We need to stress them. Yeah. And they weren't afraid to go backside. They weren't afraid to just, like, rather than trying to pull the ball in the air, which is how you hit for power. It's how you get extra base hits. They said, we just need to kind of slash, quick swing, get the ball the opposite way. And you saw West Georgia kind of not be prepared for that. Mm-hmm. They were shifting heavily all game. They were trying to get over there. Bam. Just get it in play, run the bases. Ethan Bingaman played first base today, and he scores from second on a single. The ball was released right after he turned around third. Like, he was close to the third base bag when that ball came out of the hands, and he was safe because the throw was high.
Well, you got to put the ball in play. When he hit third, when he hit third, Lindsay, I'm like, okay, hold off. And they sent him, okay, we're doing this. And I actually didn't think he was safe the first time, and then the replay, he clearly was. So
that is a college send. That is, the higher that you go, the less likely you are to send the guy in that scenario. There's not a single pro team in baseball that sends him there. But in college, like, the odds are that throw's going to be off, especially when you've got a lower conference opponent. You can take the risk. They took the risk. The first baseman busted his tail. And, hey, rated SEC Freshman of the Year of the Week apparently makes you run faster.
Yeah, I mean, he might be on pace to get it again. We'll see. As far as, I mean, it's just crazy what one half inning can do to, like, how you talk about this game and maybe even arguably how you feel about this team. But I mean, even I guess it was 2 at bats before Bub Terrell came to the plate, but Eric Guevara, I mean, that was like I assume that was the longest at bat of the game. I mean, it was just a 2-2 count for, like, so many pitches. Eventually grounds out, but does advance Bingaman to second there.
And he had just missed his own backside single, like 1 or 2 foul balls before. He missed it by, like, inches and ended up just being a little bit in front of it. They took a little bit off. I think it was a changeup that he ground out on, because he was a little ahead of it. So he ended up getting it to short.
I can't believe after that they didn't pull their reliever. I can't believe they didn't change their pitching out.
You see this a little bit in these type of midweek games against an opponent. I'm not going to call them overmatched, because they absolutely held their own against Auburn. But this see this was everything
for them. This game, winning this game is like the highlight of their season. If they
the Super Bowl, yeah. They go with the guy. When the pitching change happened, I'm sorry, not the pitching change, the mound visit happened in the ninth, and the pitching coach was walking up there with some speed, I was like, okay, yeah, no, they're not pulling. This is a pep talk. They want him to finish this. Typically that happens because they didn't trust anybody else. He was their best bet. They were saving him for a lead. They had a lead. They wanted a 2-inning save, and he was not able to deliver.
No.
3 runs on 3 hits and 2 walks.
Yeah, he got to the mid-30s on his pitch count, and we just making contact after contact after contact, and eventually got the ones that we needed. So,
and some of that was the approach change, just trying to not do too much, just going for putting the ball in play. Again,
had a wild pitch there that set things up. I mean, there's a lot that went wrong for them, and a lot that went right for us down the stretch there.
Yeah, and that's That's a Butch Thompson team. We saw this a little bit in a different way against Florida State, right? Like they got down early and they just kept chipping away. This game, you score 4 runs, 3 of them come in the final 2 innings.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to give kind of special credit. Ty Thompson, I think I'm allowed to say this. He might be the fastest white kid on campus. Like
I don't know if you could say that or not. I'm going to be honest with you.
Cool. They put him in for Chase Freilich. And shout out to friend of the show, Sonny DeShera, my partner on the Bar Baseball Show. They put Ty Thompson in motion on Guevara's ground out to shortstop. And so because of that, there's not a game-ending double play right there.
Right.
It's all of the little things. Auburn handled this final inning, 2 innings, as well as they possibly could have. The only thing I think you could quibble about, you could be a little frustrated about, is I believe it was Mason McCrane who had the RBI in the 8th, and he probably should not have tried to go to second base when he stumbled coming around first.
Yeah,
he should have put the brakes on and come back, but he tried to make it second and got thrown out. The run still counted, but absolutely, like, that's probably the only quibble you have with the final 2 innings and how that went. But lots of issues about what happened earlier in the game. Just some poor approaches and some going for the big swing and not just trying to get the ball in play and make West Georgia beat themselves.
Yeah. Now, and we'll get to the discussion of like it should have never gotten to that point in a second, but let's give some love to our guy, Brad Law, on the call. I'm so glad they put his call on the TV broadcast. What a moment for him. I mean,
an electric factory. I mean, that dude powered every house in Auburn.
That guy's a power plant.
God, the MVP of this game. Shout out to the Aubinator in the chat for calling it that. Brad Law, MVP of this game. I always love getting to hear Brad's baseball. I embarrass him with this like once every other week on the Barn Baseball Show. I am a baseball on the radio connoisseur, and I think Brad Law is one of the best that I've heard do a baseball game on the radio.
He's a legend.
And he just killed it tonight. That final call, the energy, the electricity. He knew when to lay out kind of at the end there. It's a little bit of a different feeling with the review. Like they're celebrating center field and Gabe's trying to call him back to the dugout because there's a review and all that.
Right.
But no, like he, getting ramped back up after that. I really just kind of love what Brad did with that. And I'm glad he got the national audience of everybody doing stuff.
That'll be electric. That'll be electric. That'll be used all week and stuff. And I am here for every bit of that. I'm going to ask him about that on tomorrow's Village Vice as well. So that'll be fun.
Yeah,
that'll be fun. So we shouldn't have gotten into that situation at all. And I think there's a few different angles to tackle this. I think some are good and some are bad. And maybe some are orange and blue glasses and some aren't. Lindsay, we'll take a stab at that in just a moment right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at TurboTax. We all hate doing taxes. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local professional start to finish without the stress or guesswork. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert did not file for you last year, just file February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Following this weekend's action, Auburn baseball has the 7th best odds to win the College World Series. I believe that's what it was. Auburn also a 7.5-point favorite to open the season against Baylor. So plenty of Auburn lines to get in on. And also they're running an NBA final sweepstakes. If you use your, yes.
I have bad news. Auburn has been jumped by some money and they are now 8th best odds again to win the College World Series.
What is it? Still plus what?
Plus 2,200. But hey, you know how many teams make it to Omaha? 8. If you have the 8th best odds, they have you as an Omaha team.
We're there. We're there. So there. If you use your profit boost on any NBA future, you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win a trip to the NBA final. So check it all out at FanDuel.com. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day, reacting to the dramatic win. Auburn wins 4-3 in walk-off fashion, thanks to Bub Terrell against West Georgia. Like, West Georgia's not a good team. They were 1-7 going into this. They are now 1-8 going into this. This should have, in theory, been a game that would have, been a threat to go to a run ruling. Clearly, it was not. I guess the big question here is, okay, what's up with Auburn's bats in these midweeks? We can't just say it's Cincinnati. Maybe they're better than we thought. That last midweek, that was embarrassing, 8-0. This would have been embarrassing if it was not for, the bottom of the ninth. It would have been dreadful. Ooh. You and I were talking hypotheticals of like, how bad would this be? And so thankfully,
it would have been pretty bad.
Yeah,
it would have been pretty bad.
Yeah, we could stop having those hypothetical conversations, but is it a hitting at home thing? Is it just a midweek mindset thing, Lindsay? Is it a lot of the top ranked teams in baseball this week lost in midweeks. I was looking that up earlier. Is it just the nature of that, or like, what do you think it is? How do we get to this point where we needed a dramatic bottom of the ninth to win this thing?
The good news is when you look at RPI late in the year, nobody's going to know this was the ninth inning comeback. I do think there's a situation here, and I'm not just upfront. I'm not making excuses for Auburn baseball. I'm just kind of explaining the mindset of some of these kids. I think some of this is you're in a stretch of a lot of really good teams. You had Cincinnati, who obviously beat you. You have the tournament in Arlington, which you swept. You played some really good teams there. You have Nebraska coming this weekend. Mm-hmm. And I think some of it is maybe a little looking too far ahead or underestimating your opponent, combined with the fact that baseball is not the same as basketball and football as far as it's small sample, it's fluky, all of that good stuff. But I do think, too, some of this is just Auburn guys trying to do a little too much. And I think you nailed it at the very beginning when you talked about the approach change in the ninth inning, because a lot of what these guys were doing was there's a ton of compliments for me I could throw up on the screen, and I'm not doing it right now. Okay.
You got called a special potato.
I did get called a special potato and talked about me and Brad doing a game together. A lot of these swings early in the game were guys going for the fences, right? I think Bub had 3 flyouts to the corner outfield. And like 2 of them, he was just trying to lift and pull the ball for a homer. And then he had one, I think he hit it to right. But like a lot of swinging for the fences. I'm just going to take care of this right here. I should be able to take advantage of this pitcher. I will say, when you're in a stretch of really good teams and you faced a team like this that is somewhat pitching a little bit lower velocity, a little bit less stuff, it's not as easy as you would think it is to go from facing mid-90s to facing high 80s and then go back to it. So there is a little bit of that, but this is mostly our own guys. And I guarantee you, Butch right now in that press conference is saying he didn't love the approaches tonight. He didn't love these guys trying to do too much. And he's glad they remembered late in the game that their at-bats belong to Auburn, not to themselves. Mm-hmm. And they've got to do their jobs, get the ball in play, pass the baton, thing he loves to say, get the runners over, get them in.
Right. And you saw that pretty much to perfection in the ninth. You did not see that in any of the other innings.
No. And I think that was just, they were thinking, hey, this dude's throwing high 80s. I can take advantage of him. And no, you couldn't.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, some of it is like the guys that you had in the plate in the ninth is exactly what you wanted. I mean, top of the order. We were talking about that when we were watching it together going into it. It's like, well, this is what you want. This is what you want going into a walk-off situation. And thankfully, I guess this would have been like the 4th time through the order. Like, thankfully, they got it done that time.
West Georgia did a lot of stuff right in this game. Go into different pitchers to try to like give them different looks every time through. West Georgia had 9 hits in this game. I believe I counted 6 of them came with 2 outs. I remember Butch telling me a little while back the most dangerous situation for a college pitcher is nobody on and 2 outs. Because there's a very strong natural reaction to just kind of breathe a little bit and relax. And you can't let your guard down. I think you saw that tonight. There was a couple of these actually where it was 2 outs and 2 strikes, and they just couldn't put them away. And I want to say both of the home runs I know were 2 out home runs. I think one of them at least may have been a 2 out and 2 strike home run. And that's just going to be, that's just really tough. But yeah, the timing was off. They were trying to do a little too much with those swings. It just didn't really work out there.
Yeah. Is this me wearing orange and blue glasses, Lindsay, that we learn more about this team? This team grows more from this game with the Bub Terrell walk-off being in that situation late versus winning this game 7-2, like a lot of us would have predicted. Do they possibly get more out of this game early in the season, winning it this way?
Knowing Gabe Gross, like I like to think that I do, I'm going to say yes, simply because I know Gabe wasn't telling them to go out and crank bombs. Like it's not what he's going to doing out there. And being able to go back and look at the approaches in their first couple at-bats and then the last at-bat and say like, hey, when you start doing the things we told you to do, you see how you scored these runs late and we won this game. So I do think it helps from that perspective. And then kind of like in the Florida State game where you got down 4-0 early and then you rallied. I think Jackson said you're sitting allow another hit until the 5th inning. You started chipping away at all of that. I do think it also helps with the confidence of knowing that like, hey, there's no situation so far this year really other than Cincinnati that we've not been able to dig ourselves out of the hole that we put ourselves in. Correct. I do think that helps a bit, especially for some of the young players you have in the lineup. Ethan Bingaman, obviously going to be big for him. That
guy's a dude, man.
I mean, 2 home runs on Sunday. He scores from second for the winning run. Again, as a first baseman, he can play multiple positions, but still. Like, this team's not a finished product. I think they left 10 runners on base, 9 or 10 runners on base. A lot of just poor approaches kind of when it mattered, but they figured it out. I do think this helps. I do think you learn a lot. And these are the kind of games where, again, end of the season, we're not going to remember this was a 1-run 9th inning comeback. We're just going to remember, but they're going to remember the lessons they learned from it. And I think that's a big deal.
Yeah. The walk-off is the friends we made along the way.
Yes.
I think is what they say.
Yes.
What a moment for Bub too. I mean, that's just great. Give him more confidence going into this weekend. Like I'm 100% okay with that.
He's had some struggles a little bit early. He's been pretty good this season, but he's had some struggles this game. He was 0 for 4 going into that final inning. And I think the big thing to think about too, and I saw a couple questions in the chat. I was trying to get to it eventually. You're doing all of this without some of your best players, right? You're doing this without Chris Rimbert.
Right.
The initial time frame the program gave us that day of the doubleheader is they were shooting for SEC play. We talked on here about if you have to miss Missouri, it's not a big deal because it's Missouri's Missouri. I've heard a little bit of whispers. They think they may be able to get him back earlier. They don't know. That's not like confirmed or anything, but they think. Eddie Madrigal, who's been playing first base or would have been. He's dressing out. He's doing some work. They think they might be able to get him back a little bit earlier. You don't have Griffin Graves, who they thought going into the year was going to be their best pitcher, not because of the alliteration, but just because of his stuff and his ability to throw strikes. You haven't had him the first couple weeks. So like you've got a little bit more that you can do here. Like you're holding serve without these guys. If you add these guys in, combined with who stepped up, Brandon McCrane has shown we talked about this last week. He's got to be in the lineup somewhere when Chris Rimbert comes back. Ethan Bingaman looks like he needs to be in the lineup. You feel good. You feel good about the future of this team and where they can go. There is a question in the chat. Is Eddie related to Nick? Eddie Madrigal is the cousin of current big leaguer Nick Madrigal. Yes, he has his cousin. They're not siblings, but they're cousins.
So kind of the same genes.
Yes, similar. They do share some genes. And then the question about what happened to Griffin Graves, he has an oblique issue, I think. And there was a question whether or not they would be able to have him for this weekend, but they believe in worst case scenario, he's back by SEC play. So
oblique's a big deal. A lot of twisting,
especially for a pitcher. For a pitcher. It's a hitter and a pitcher. Obliques are pretty important to play in the sport of baseball. So
that's right. Got to be able to twist. So all in all, I mean, not the prettiest game. I don't think anybody's going to shy away from that, but
no.
you'd rather have the bottom of the ninth that you had than not. That's for certain.
And hey, 3 errors by West Georgia, you'll absolutely take that. They had 3 errors late in the game. You'll take that too.
Yeah. And I think I saw that 4 of the top 5 teams lost midweeks this week. So like, just take it. Just take the win. Because
not everybody was able to do
other folks did not do this.
Yeah.
So
LSU lost to, I think it was McNeese State. Like you had multiple losses that arguably should not have been losses. Teams that we would have been really frustrated about.
Real quick.
I was about to say, I was looking at the list earlier. It was Troy beat Georgia.
They're ranked 11th.
65, and that's after somebody from Troy got ejected during the game. 4, I believe, talking
about Arkansas beat Arkansas State by 1. I'm looking at Tuesday real quick, and then we'll put a bow on this one.
I was about to say a lot of
Arkansas State beat Arkansas yesterday.
They played 2 games. Yeah,
McNeese beat LSU, as we mentioned. San Diego State beat the top-ranked team in the country, UCLA. So. It wasn't pretty. Arizona State beat 13th ranked Oklahoma. Like this,
Alabama.
Yep, Southern Miss beat Alabama. That's right.
So, can you imagine losing your midweek? Not me.
It's still funny that you point that out.
You knew I was going to point that out. Come on, we all knew we were going to point that out.
Yep. So, whatever. We'll take it. Congratulations.
Oh, and Georgia State beat Georgia Tech.
Oh, there we go.
9-4.
There we go. So like we can all, say it wasn't pretty. It's like, but I mean, most of the teams in the top, like they lost these games. So Auburn, did Auburn lose these games? No, because Bub Terrell walked it off, baby. Let's go.
There you go.
Let's go. Lindsay Crosby, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
I'm on social media at Crosby Baseball. The Auburn baseball stuff, obviously here after every game, as well as thebarnauburn.com. The Barn Baseball Show. We have another show coming out on Friday, me and Brad Law. We're going to talk about his call, and then we'll talk about Nebraska over the weekend. And then the Atlanta Braves content, bravestoday.com. We've been going hard on that in the last couple of days with the announcement of Braves Vision and the Chris Sale extension.
All right. Auburn walks it off. They win 4-3 against West Georgia. Lindsay and I will be live after the Friday Nebraska game and after the Sunday Nebraska game. Saturday is too close to basketball, so I'll just go live with Daryl after the basketball game Saturday night. Once again, Auburn wins 4-3. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.